Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com. And it's Tuesday, it's October 30th. This will be our chart lesson for today. And before I got started on the chart lesson, I was going to read you a couple of emails here. Let me find them. People like that. I don't get as much positive stuff, but every now and then I get some positive emails. And, usually if things are going away, you don't hear a lot from people. You only hear from the people that are having trouble or complaining or that can't seem to get it or that don't believe it works or just troublemakers usually, and people that are struggling is usually who you hear from the most. But occasionally I do hear some good stuff, and a lot of times I get these and I forget to read them, but I got two in the last couple of days, and I want to read both of them. They're both short, but they're both very positive, and just to show you what can be done. I got this from a guy that's been trading for a while, and he's been telling me he's having some more success. And he wrote me yesterday. He says, "Hi Mac, I caught a 20-point runner today." He sent me this last night. Caught a 20-point runner today using your system on my live account. Thank you for all your wonderful work. God bless. So there's a guy that caught a runner, caught 20 points, and in these volatile markets, I mean, you can get 20 points quick. So and that. I mean, you think about it, that's 10 points on a single contract. He doesn't say how many he's trading. It may have only been one contract, but that's 20 points. That's basically 20 points on one contract. So he had $1,000 day just off one runner. And think about if you had 5 or 10, 5 or 6 or 10 runners going, and you can get to that point at some point. So um, that's great by that gentleman. Congrats on the day. It's that's what makes this. When you have this kind of volatility, you can catch a few runners and put a little extra money in your can. That changes your numbers dramatically to have $1,000 off one runner. That just completely changes your numbers. And if you can get one or two of those here and there, trust me, they add up. So nice job by him. I got another email here from this gentleman. Let me read it. Hey Mac, how are things with you? Hope you're doing well. I haven't spoken to you in a while, but I still watch your chart lesson every day. Things are going really well with trading, all thanks to you. I regularly have 20. And this is the reason I want to read this one, because people laugh at me when I tell them about long winning streaks. But this guy goes on to say, I regularly have 20 trade winning streaks, and I see the market really clearly every day. Haven't had a losing day since May. Couldn't have got there without you, so thank you. So, um, I mean, there it is. There's somebody having great success. It's not Max saying he's having great success, and it's somebody else. And people wouldn't trust me. People don't send me this to lie about it. People only send me these things when they're true. No, I haven't seen his trading. Uh, his trading chart, his actual live trades, or anything like that. But why would somebody make that up? So I believe this guy. I've talked to him on and off over time. And again, I'll read that to you one more time. It says, um, I regularly have 20 trade winning streaks, and I see the market really clearly every day. Haven't had a losing day since May. Now, I'm sure he's had some losing trades. Everybody has losing trades. But there's a difference between having a losing trade and having a losing day. And you can get to the point where you don't have losing days and you can have these long win streaks. And people used to just think I was lying when I would tell them that. But it can be done. It's not that hard. You're only getting 4 ticks. So when you learn to spot these entries, it gets relatively easy to get 4 ticks. You won't always catch a runner. You don't always even have to try to catch a runner. But those runners, as you saw on the first email, really change your numbers. So imagine if you had 20 wins in a row and you caught a couple of $1,000 runners in there as well. You're making some bucks. You're knocking down some money, and you only need a couple of 3 trades a day to really turn that into something big. So if you're not there yet, trust me, it can be done. There's people doing it. Not just me saying I'm doing it. There's other people doing it. He's just one out of many over the years that have sent me similar messages. And so it can be done. So hang in there, stay with it. The key is doing what I tell you every day. You can't just come in here and trade and try to go live after a month or two or even 6 months, and you're just going to be a donator. Don't be a donator. And if you've never heard me say that before, a donator is basically somebody that thinks they can trade, and they're just going to get on here and donate their money to somebody like the gentleman that just read me his email. He's the guy taking your money when you're losing because he knows what he's doing, and he's ready to be trading. On the other hand, if you're not ready, don't go live until you've proven you can do it on the simulator. And the real key is don't just get on the simulator and trade every day and close up at the end of the day and go home thinking you've done something, because the real work starts at the end of each day after you've traded, to go back and study your trade, study your tendencies, figure out what you did right, figure out what you did wrong, correct the problems. Every trade that you lose on, you can figure out what you missed. It may take you a little while, but study your chart. And if you don't see anything, send it to me. Send me that trade, mark it clearly on your chart, send me a picture of your chart, explain to me what you were thinking, and I'll see what I think about it. Every now and then there's one that will just look like a great trade that fools you. Used to I thought that sometimes good trades just failed, but I don't really believe that anymore. I believe that when you have a failure and a loser, you misread something, you missed something, or you just got trapped or whatever. So there's usually almost always a reason that a trade fails, and if you dig into it, you can figure it out. And if you can't, send it to me and I'll help you with it. So anyway, I want to get through these. There's a lot of trades today. A lot of volatility. I want to get through them pretty quickly. I have another commitment this evening, so I'm going to try to get through these pretty quickly. But as you can see, it's mostly a trading range today. Notice that we did close up today. We closed down over here around 26.43, 42 yesterday, and we closed up here at 26.80, maybe 83, 84, somewhere like that. So we closed up today, although it is a trading range. But once we had this one leg up and we started higher, each time we started higher, I'd be looking for a measured move. Earlier, you probably would have been looking here, but we ended up making a higher low right here. And if you measure this over here, you can see there it is. Move it over to here. I mean, we basically had a perfect measured move. And somebody, and that same gentleman that sent me that other message went on in his message to ask me about runners and how I manage them. And it's hard. If you think it's time to get out and you get out, that runner will run forever. And if you think it's going to run forever and you try to hang on, it'll back up and stop you out. You can't ever get it right. Don't ask me why it's so hard to do, but it's almost impossible to figure out how to handle your runners. So the best thing to do is look for these targets and shoot for these targets. Or, if you got a trend line working up here, once you get a break and you start to make a reversal pattern or start to trend in the other way, just exit and look for a new entry if you're wrong. So it depends on your personality. There's a reason I don't talk a whole lot about exiting, because a lot of it depends on your personality. Some people have a hard time finding the entry, so when they get a good one, they want to hang on, and it doesn't bother them to watch it back up and undulate and watch the money go in and watch the money come out and watch more money go in and a little bit come out. I have a hard time with that. I see $200 or $300, $400, $500, whatever in my little can there, and all I got to do is close it and take it. If it's at a point where it looks like it's going to start backing up, I'm going to close it and take my money. I hate to see $400 or $500 in a profit and then watch it start backing up and next thing you know, you only got $100 profit, but suddenly it bounces from there and goes higher, and then you get more than 500. But I'd rather take my money at $400 or $500, watch it back up till it's ready to go off again and get back in again. But that's my personality. So yours may be totally different. So it's all about your risk tolerance and what you're comfortable with. And you got to be comfortable when you're trading, because if you're sweating it and you're not comfortable and you're feeling nervous about it, you're going to make more mistakes and you're going to make more errors. So whatever works for you, that's what you need to do. And again, in my case, I'm pretty good at picking the entries. And so I like to scalp out, take a runner if it's not going sideways, and see if I can't catch a runner. And then that runner, I may take a little more risk with it than I will my scalp, because I've already made my money. I've locked in my money. My stop's at break even. I'm not worried about getting stopped out on that runner. I'm going to make money on that trade no matter what. And then it takes a lot of stress and pressure off of you. So if your whole trade's sitting there and you've watched money get in and it starts backing up, it's a whole lot harder to sit on. At least it is for me. But anyway, I'm not going. I'm already 10 minutes in this thing. I hadn't talked about the first trade, so I'm going to move through these pretty quickly. That wasn't, those are pretty important conversations, though. I think they're worth having. But let's back out here where we can see something. I mean, there's just so much volatility and so much movement. You got to get way out here, and you can't see but a very small part of the chart. But anyway, notice we were kind of working up, and then had a correction, and we were still working up. And when I came in, we were working up, and this is right at the 7 o'clock hour. It's a third touch of the trend line. Notice this trend line off those first two swings. It's a third touch, big bullish bar. This is really your signal bar, but this is so bullish. You probably couldn't have got in this one. I marked it anyway. It was right at just like 701 or 702 or something like that. But we were probably going to go back up here and test this high. The main thing is you confirm this trend line. And even though there's really a failed second entry short here, this is really all one move on a little bigger. And so you could look at that like a failed second entry short as well. Main thing is it confirms that trend line working up right there. Bullish bar. But it gaps over and takes off. You probably couldn't have even got in it. But I marked it green just so I'd remember to talk about it. If you wanted to take that one, you could. But then we turn down. You get a first entry there. You move down. You get a second entry. The fact that that went under the EMA and all here, when we've been going back and forth, I'd be real timid about going long there. If you did, you got trapped and you want to reverse right here. That's a failed second entry long. And if you weren't trapped, you want to take the short. So either way, you probably want to take the short. If you were trapped, you want to take the short. And if you weren't trapped, it's a good trade. You want to take the trade. But anyway, I had a little interruption there. But that's a nice failed second entry long. Go short right there. And that one trade, you could catch a runner here and ride this all the way down. How far do you want to ride that? I would at least look for the measured move, which there's your first move down. Move this over. And there's your measured move right down here. So if you only wrote it to there, you're still looking at 53 to, I would have exited just above that, to 40. So that's 13 points right there that you could have got. And you could have just stayed in it until you got a close outside the trend line and the first break above it. That probably would have given you another point or so. But generally, those measured moves are good targets. You'd be surprised at how many times it hits those to the tick. This time it went a little further. So that was a great trade. Actually, I read that wrong, didn't I? I was looking at that one, wasn't I? Or was I? I can't remember. 53 to 40, yeah, 13 points. I read it right. Anyway, so then you move down, you come back, and there's just another turn down with a big bearish bar right off the trend line. Your lows are down here. There's plenty of room, and your measured move was way down here. That's probably worth risking in this volatile market the way, and you're looking for a measured move. There's a second entry short here. I didn't mark this one. It's the first break of this. There's a trend line working up, but I'll be honest with you, I like that trade. But this trend line working up just makes it a little iffy or whatever. And if it would have broke higher here and turned back down, generally you want to wait on that lower high. So you could almost argue for even that one. So really, I should have marked this one of these. I like them both, but sometimes you got to be careful if that trend line hasn't been broken. And of course, we make a second leg up, and there's another second entry here, but you got a couple of dojis stacking up there. It would have worked. It comes back, but I'm waiting on a lower high here, and you never get one. It just is going sideways. But once it starts going sideways here, then you get this little failed break. And this is, you tested this once, twice, third time with that little failed break and that nice bullish bar, plenty of room. So I like that one. This one might have been a little hard to get in. I don't know if you could have got in it or not. Depends on how your chart looked. And then, of course, that one takes off. If you did get in, it was a nice trade. Then you're working up, you get a break, new low, and there's your higher low right there. When it broke above here, I'd go long. And you actually had this inside bar, so when it broke above that one, you could have used that. But your stop has to go below this bar. You get your reversal pattern here, your failed second entry short. And at that point, I'd been looking for a measured move at the very minimum. I'd measure this one, but I'd also measure from here, because that's all really kind of one move. It's really hard to, this is probably going to be your better measured move, because it's hard to judge this one because you've bet several. But if you use that one, you can see we got real close to that one. It was worth looking at. Okay, I had another interruption. I apologize. My phone keeps ringing. But I think we talked about this reversal. We talked about one of these, maybe both of them. But this was a reversal pattern. Notice your new low. First entry, second entry. And so this is a failed second entry against the trend. People ask me about these all the time. If you're new to this, don't worry too much about the failures, because they'll just confuse you. But notice there's a second entry short there, counter trend. The trend is working up, so that's a great place to enter long. And look how it takes off. And you actually get another pullback to this trend line right here, but you've gotten so far away from the EMA and all. You may be headed back up to here, but you just don't know. And then we actually do run on up. And so it would have been a good trade, but you don't know that ahead of time. And you want to wait on a lower high, which you get here, and you're so far away from the EMA. But we've had trends like this run for 15 or 20 points lately, and it's just really dangerous. And notice how it broke lower and it tried to go back up. People tried to take it higher. They couldn't. So you might, it is a lower high, which is what you want to wait for. Or it is a mile away from the EMA, which is what we like. But there's been no break of that trend channel line yet. So you got to be really, really careful about picking these tops. But I'll mark that one green. Then we just went sideways. I don't see anything I like here. You get a failed breakout here. You could argue for that to be a high or low, but it's too bearish. You get a high or low here, but it's right back into the highs. Same thing here. And then it comes back down. And finally, you get a little small bar at the very low with enough room to get out. That's where you go long. And you've already pushed through, so this thing may rocket on. There also is a trend line. That's the first break, so you may push up at least to a new high. And actually, you would want to move this line up. I'd pulled it down and forgot to pull it back up. And you can see that looks like this is really just a two-tiered trading range almost. So but at the very least, you would have just moved this line up and made it bigger. And so now you get one here. Generally, I want to wait on a lower high, but this broke higher in turn to give you a nice bearish bar. I'd go short right there. Just to ride it. As long as you got room to get out before here, I'd take it. And then we're just kind of going sideways and getting tighter. Not a good place to be entering at. This one is really tempting because this is another little trading range. It's a failed breakout, and it does confirm that trend line. I'm not crazy about marking it red, but it ought to at least be green. And it's one that I just, if you're going to be aggressive, it's the kind you want to take, because we're probably going to get, at the minimum, get a leg like that right there. If you measure that leg, move it over, then you're looking for prices to come to at least here where it tried to bounce right there. But people probably looking at that level. But the bottom falls out of this thing, and this would have been a great runner, easy runner that you could have ridden all the way down to the other side of the trend and channel line. And that's probably where I would have exited a few ticks above that. And that was an easy, nice, easy trade. Then we start working up. We don't get back to the trend line here. There's a lower high, but we're just kind of going sideways. We do turn down off that trend line again, but again, you don't get a very good signal bar. Somebody asked me about this bounce right here. It is a double test of that low, but you got a channel working down, and you're making lower highs here every time. There's too big a chance that this is going to go lower. I'm not going to take that trade right there. You do get 2 legs up, but still not a very good signal bar. It is a failed break higher. So you could argue for that one. You know, that's another one that could be green. And this is an area where you just had to be really patient in here. If you start trying to pick too many, my phone just won't quit ringing today. But you could argue for that one. It's basically 2 legs up. It's the second entry was right here, and you see that looked really good too on a failed break higher, and you got burned. It would have went up and then so that's the reason I don't like those. Um, that's really still all part of the same move, but you could still argue that's part of the same move. So that's why I don't like those. You're better off to wait on the lower high, which doesn't come till right here. Big bearish bar, lower high. There's actually one right here too, but this is like right in the middle of that trading range, and we just came off the low. So I don't really like that one either. It's mostly bearish, but it's not a perfect bar. This one's not perfect, but it's really bearish as well. And now you got 2 legs up, so you got a second entry short on a lower high. I like that one. And then it just bounces. This is our hard ones. When you're already thinking short, it's hard to think long again. But notice that's a reversal pattern. Nice bullish bar. Confirms that trend line. Just go long right there. And just in case, if you weren't quite sure there, when it makes a higher low here and gives you a bullish bar, go long right there and look at it go. Takes off, and this would have been another nice runner that you could have ridden up. And it's moving up. It comes back right here, but your second entry is right here in a higher low. I like that one. Bullish bar. Another nice move, and then it sails off. First entry long, second entry long, it fails. This is a bullish engulfing bar. It breaks higher and turns and goes. I wouldn't, I put a stop right there, and there was a couple of extra ticks to spare. Whether or not I'd wait till that whole bar closed, I don't know, because then it costs you 3 or 4 more ticks, and that's a huge bar, and it wouldn't have worked. You would have, because you've already got your low in here, but when it broke higher and turned down, you're probably going to at least test that again. So I marked it red, but it's a little bit, it's real close that it could be green, and it's because there's some reasons to skip that one, but it would have worked if you played the engulfing bar where it broke higher and you had your sell stop on the lower side and went straight on through. You'd had a couple of ticks to spare. And then you have to just kind of sit patient again. There's just nothing here I like at all. You're just kind of going sideways. Of course, you could look at this like a failed break lower, but you're making lower highs here again and lower lows somewhat. So you need to be real careful. And then finally you come back up here, and what I did originally was I drew this off this low right here, and you can see that, and I drug it up. But come to find out, I believe that it should have been a little bit higher, like so, and then it's a 2-tiered channel. But I found this off the lows and drug it up, and when it turned down right off of it with that double top, and this is basically 1 leg up, second leg up, so that's a second entry long. It's not official because you do tick lower right there, but if you went just a little bit higher timeline, that's a second entry short. But the main thing is right off where a key entry point was likely at, and look at it go. And then you try to go higher once, twice, you make a double top, nice bearish bar, go short right there. You're looking for it to come down here. Doesn't quite get there. Come back up. There's a lower high right there, but I'm not crazy about that one. But when you get that failed second entry long and a bearish bar, we're probably headed down to the lower trend channel line. So I like that one. We bounce here. You don't get a reversal till right here back into the our failed second entry short reversal pattern till right back up here. Then you're just going sideways, so I don't like it. You break higher, but this channel's still in play. You don't want to be going short there. But notice that trend line working down. And even though it doesn't break higher there, it's a big bearish bar and there's a higher low right there. So that's like, it's close to being it's close enough to being a second entry short. But because it didn't break higher, I marked it green. It's basically two legs down. If you went to a smaller pattern, you'd see a second entry short there. Then we just start going sideways again. This is where you just got to be patient. I really didn't see anything else I liked in there. Maybe a long here, but you just came off the upper side here, so I don't see any reason to go long there, to be honest. I think it's too risky. So I didn't really see anything else I liked. I mean, you can see really from about 12:30, there's one green one in there. It's just, and again, you could argue for trades all through here, but there's not any really good setups. And there's several trades that might work, but there's nothing in there that I think is worth risking when you've had all these good trades and easy moves previously. You just don't want to risk it on that. So I didn't mark any of them. But that was it today. And I got almost 30 minutes worth here. I didn't intend for this to be so long today. But overall, in the big picture, this is a trading range. But when your trading range is 26.37 to 26.74, 35 points, that's a big trading range. So these are real trends up and down in here. So just remember that. Even though it's a big trading range, there's plenty of room for nice trends. So if you get a trend going and you're not too close to the upper side of the range, by all means take it. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. This morning enough time today. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow. Hope you had a good trading day. I'm done for today. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.